Hello YouTube, Dave here again. This past weekend saw the pre-release for the new Magic the Gathering set, Eldritch Moon. I was able to attend the pre-release event. Actually the first time I've ever gone to anything like that. So I just wanted to do a quick video, show what I got in the pre-release pack. It came with 4 packs of Eldritch Moon and 2 packs of Shadows over Innistrad. And I'll just show off sort of the cards that I got, the deck that I use for the most part in the pre-release event, as well as the promo that I got with it. So here is the pack itself. Just the front and back are kind of the same there, and just a little bit of legal information, logo on the top. So this sleeve just slides off, and here is the box that it came in. So I've got the cards just kind of out of the packs already, obviously, where all the packs were opened up. But here is the die that I got, and I actually really like the color, the blue and the white specks, and of course the set symbol there. And we'll have a look at so these are cards that I didn't use, minus the rares, which I have sleeved up individually. So we'll just kind of go through them. Some of them are going to be Shadows over Innistrad as well. I just kind of have them mixed in there, in no particular order. So I've got, let's see, the Cathar Shield, Prying Questions, Borrowed Malevolence, Murderous Compulsion, Lunar Force, Drag Under, Convolute, Trail of Evidence, Savage Alliance, Borrowed Hostility, Distemper of the Blood, Insatiable Gorgers, another Borrowed Hostility, Prophetic Ravings, another Borrowed Hostility, Brazen Wolves, Savage Alliance, one of the Escalate cards, Make Mischief, another Brazen Wolves, Otherworldly Outburst, Mad Prophet, Ember Eye Wolf, Hulking Devil, Skin Invasion, another Ember Eye Wolf, another Hulking Devil, and then for green we got the Kessig Prowler, which turns into the Sinuous Predator, Ulvenwald Captive, starts off as a defender, and that flips into an Ulvenwald Abomination, 4/6 that you can tap to add 2 colorless. Crop Sigil, Woodland Patrol, Wolfkin Bond, Waxing Moon, 2 of those, lets you transform a werewolf without having to meet the regular condition. Bloodbriar, another Crop Sigil, another Woodland Patrol, Equestrian Skill, Kessig Dire Swine, Thornhide Wolves, Subjugator Angel, Thraben Standard Bearer, Lunarch Mantle, Desperate Sentry, another Lunarch Mantle, Borrowed Grace, another Lunarch Mantle, I just got 3 of those, Steadfast Cathar, Dawn Griff, Pious Evangel, which transforms into a Wayward Disciple, Reaper of the Flight Moonsilver, Strength of Arms, Thraben Inspector, Unruly Mob, Topplegeist, Militant Inquisitor, Mercurial Geist, and then those are just some of the flip cards if you don't have sleeves, and just some other tokens and some lands that I got. So those were the like the commons and uncommons, tokens and things like that. The rares that I got that I didn't use in my deck were an Ulvenwald Observer, Permeating Mass, Drownyard Temple, I also got a foil Driscoll Shieldmate and a Mausoleum Wanderer. So those were the rares that I got that I didn't actually end up using. I ended up siding with a blue-black deck just for basically just wanted to play it for fun. There were some cards in there that I actually wanted to kind of try out right away. Not that I ever expected to win. I did win a couple of games at the beginning, which was really actually pretty surprising. But that was more or less it for the evening. But the kits also come with a foil zombie token, and it is double-sided, but I kind of like this side the most. I will show what the other side looks like there. So that's the other side, but like I said, I like the other version better. Each kit also comes with a random rare that is stamped with the date of the pre-release. So it's a foil card, and it's from any of the rares or mythics from the set. The one that I ended up getting, and I actually used this in my deck, is the Identity Thief. I actually really like this card, so it's 2 colorless and 2 blue, or 2 I guess of any color. Whenever it attacks, you may exile another target non-token creature. If you do, Identity Thief becomes a copy of that creature until the end of turn. Return an exiled creature to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So I actually really like this card whenever I got a chance to attack with it, just because you're able to exile. It can be not just one of your cards, but one of your opponents. So you can get rid of a pretty big potential blocker, and it becomes that card for all intents and purposes. So if you do something with like lifelink or vigilance or things like that, you get those abilities, you get the attack and defense. Really like the card. Like to get more of them to have an actual play set. So I'm kind of glad that I got this one, just where blue and green are kind of my preferred colors. So I'm glad that the rares that I got for the most part actually fall into those colors. As for the deck itself, so that card was in the deck. I'll just go through some of the other cards that I had here. I took the lands out because those aren't really important. Vampire Cutthroat. I actually really like this card as well. It's an uncommon. It's a 1/1 with lifelink and skulk. So it can't be blocked by anything with a greater power. So anything that has more than one attack cannot block this, and you get lifelink with it. So it's a pretty good way to get a little bit of cheap damage in there, as well as a little bit of healing as well. So I had one of those in there. That's the only one that I got. And then I got the Midnight Scavengers and Graph Rats together. That's kind of more or less why I ended up choosing black as one of my colors, just because these are the ones that meld together. So once I'm done just showing off the other cards, I'll flip this over and show what the meld looks like. So we also have the Exultant Cultist, which I have 3 of in this deck. 2/2, whenever it dies, draw a card. So I have some things that allow you to sack creatures in this deck as well. And things that can bring, a couple of cards that bring cards back as well. So I actually got quite a bit of use out of these guys. Really enjoyed having them. Dead Weight, Ghostly Wings, Skurstag Supplicant, Stallion of Ashmouth. I do have a Boar Malevolence in this deck. I probably should have had more instants and sorceries, because I think that kind of cost me a few potential victories, but had one in the deck, so got a chance to use it with this Escalate. Another Exalted Cultist. Dark Feaster. It has Delirium. If you have 4 different card types in your graveyard, it costs 2 less to cast, but by default it costs 5 of any, and 2 black, and it's a 4/5 with flying, so a pretty good card as well. There's my third Cultist. Erdwall Illuminator. Merciless Resolve. So this is one of the ones that I had for sacrifice a creature and get to draw 2 cards. So I try to get some card draw in there, as well as some things to allow me to sacrifice, so that I could sacrifice one of those cultists and get to draw an additional card on top of everything else. Stitch Mangler. And I have a couple of these emerge cards in here. So there's a Wretched Griff, which is another thing that you can sacrifice in order to reduce its casting cost. Pieces of the Puzzle, something that can sort of help with Delirium. And not that I have a lot of things with Delirium in the deck, but just something to help kind of get cards into the graveyard. Drag Under. Drownyard Behemoth. and a Gavany Unhallowed. In addition to that, I had the Identity Thief in there, of course, as well as these two cards. So I had a Forgotten Creation, was one of the rares that I pulled, and I actually got one of the mythics, and that is the Mind's Dilation. Didn't get a chance to use it very much during the games that I played, but what it does, whenever an opponent casts his or her first spell each turn, that player exiles the top card of his or her library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost, which I think has the potential to be kinda nasty. But I just never got a chance to use it. The one game where somebody actually cast stuff after it came out, the only cards they flipped were actually lands, but there you go. So those were the cards that I got in my pre-release kit, and of course, like I said, one of the reasons that I ended up choosing black was for these creatures here, which actually meld together. So let me just, what they do is they flip over. If you have them both on the battlefield at the start of your combat phase, you can meld them together. And the way that meld works is the other card is actually, or the backside actually has half of the card on it. So you kind of would hold them or put them together on the table like this. And it's a 5/6 with haste and menace. And when it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control gain +1/+0 and menace until the end of turn. So these are just common cards, but if you're able to get them together and get this off, it can actually potentially cause quite a bit of damage, especially if you have some of your larger creatures out there as well. And what I actually ended up doing with mine in the games that I won, the first one that I played, I actually got this guy out pretty early on, and then I gave it ghostly wings so that it was flying on top of everything else. So anyway, that was my pre-release kit. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you actually were a part of pre-release or not, if you took part in it. What cards did you get? Are there any particular cards that you're excited about when it comes to the new set? Personally, I'd like to get a Liliana. I think that's the main card that I'm going to be kind of searching for, as well as maybe a few more copies of something like Identity Thief and some of the other green rares I'd like to have as well. I also probably, one of the other decks I was looking at making was going to be a green-red werewolf deck, but again, I got those two flip cards all in the same pre-release kit, and I just really wanted to kind of try out the mechanics. So I knew I wasn't going to win anything. The other players that were there were way more experienced. I just kind of went there to have fun. So the fact that I won a couple of games in the actual kind of ranked matches, as well as another game against a friend of mine in between rounds, was pretty cool as far as I was concerned. I'm probably going to try to get some more of these and maybe build a deck kind of around some of the Meld creatures. But anyway, that's it for that video. So I hope you enjoyed. If you went, I hope you had a great pre-release, and we'll see you next time.